loosened up over the last number of years in terms of what, for me, are acceptable realities. They don't need to be acceptable to you, but they're acceptable to me. I allow them in. I allow them to be called realities. An obvious one is dreams. I've allowed them to be realities, because it's a matter of definition half the time. All right, dreams. A bloke who comes up and shakes my hand in a dream, g'day mate. For me, that guy has manifested himself before me. The universe somehow, I don't know how, he's in my head somewhere, possibly. I don't even know where I am, maybe I'm sitting up here above my head, a foot above my own head, looking down at my brain, but I don't, I don't realise that I'm a foot above my own brain. I can't, it's a little bit like when you listen to, you've got your headphones in and you're listening to music and the same music is in both ears. It feels like it's coming from right in the back of your head. I can't hear it coming from this ear or this ear. It's coming from here. Maybe I am floating a half a foot above my own head, but somehow via a similar mechanism as, the listening thing, somehow I'm perceiving, maybe my soul is sitting above my head and my brain is in my head and my soul is looking at my brain and having conversations with my brain, I tell myself, it's time to go to sleep. I tell myself to have a thought. I tell myself, I tell my brain, that sort of thing. I don't know where my dreams are. But somehow, via mechanisms unknown, a bloke who comes up to me and shakes my hand in a dream and says "G'day" and says something interesting to me in a dream, has manifested himself. He's an ugly bastard, Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was there, all right. And there's a bloke there I can see hopping in his car behind me, and he's manifesting himself before me. No, not that. Okay, he's hopped in his car. Now, the bloke I met in my dream, he's a hell of a lot more, he's a lot more interesting to me than that guy who just hopped in that car there fully clothed. So, I'm happy to say that according to this definition of reality, I'm allowed to define reality any way I want. Two blokes. I just considered two real blokes then, as far as I'm concerned. I was going to go on and on about this because, what was I going to talk about? I got distracted then. I was going to talk about something else. Different time. See, all of that was supposed to be an introduction of some sort, leading to something else. I know what it was. Not too long ago, I took my goddaughter to see some music. See some music? Ooh, no, yeah. Here's some music. But here's what happened. She saw it. Now, I didn't see it. I heard it, But I used to go to symphonies in Melbourne. This thing that we went to was just someone on a violin and all that sort of stuff. And I used to go to symphonies and I could see what I was hearing because, you'd get some great big symphony going on, whatever, and I'd be sitting there right into it. I used to go by myself, just for the experience. Melbourne Symphony Orchestra had a subscription, and what would happen is I'd be sitting there listening, and suddenly I'd start seeing shapes. I don't know whether I was actually seeing them. See, it's like a dream. It was a reality of sorts. Somehow the music was putting shapes in my head, and let's say a violin. was descending, through the rest of the orchestra. Okay, so you've got all the different, instruments all making a great big sound, kind of a background sound, and then there's the lead violin goes right through. Now, what was happening there? I was seeing this great big thing, physical thing, a big shape of some sort, maybe a blob, and suddenly I would see something, maybe an arrow, diving through the blob and coming out below it. That sort of thing. But much more complicated than that. I'd see shapes swirling into other shapes, donut shapes, and then something going in between and all that sort of stuff. But I would see shapes. So I went to the symphony orchestra and I went and saw the music. Now, I've never seen colours. Now that's interesting. But when I was at this other thing, violinists and all that sort of stuff, no, not a full symphony orchestra or anything, but my goddaughter, who was sitting next to me, she said, I can see colours. She was listening to a guy on the violin and she said, I can see colours. I couldn't see those colours. I don't know what colour was she. Maybe she was seeing orange, or, as that guy was playing. And maybe another guy came on and, got on his flute and she saw blue. I don't know. But the point is, right at that moment, she could see colours. She didn't tell me what colour. And I said, oh, wow. I said, I can't. But I said, I remember I used to go to symphonies and I could see shapes. So you see colours, I see shapes. But what is happening is, it's really just sound in air. It's actually it's air waves, and all that sort of stuff. So there's no colours there, but somehow it's triggering something in our brain, whatever. Okay. Like it's coming into our ears, but however the optic nerves go from your eye to your brain, and then how the little hammers in your ears send electrical signals into your brain. Somehow what is happening, I have no idea, but it goes into your ear, knock, 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 on your brain. Hello, is anybody in there? No. And but somehow, via other mechanisms in your brain, like your memories and all that sort of stuff, the electrical signals going into your brain maybe get mixed up with, go into a similar spot or something from normally where the eyes are sending signals into the brain via the optic nerves, and your brain thinks something came from the optic nerves when it actually came from knock, 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 the hammers in your ears and all that sort of stuff, the electrical signals there, and you see colours. And you floating a foot above your head, your own head, you say, wow, I saw that sound. Ooh, that's really interesting, It's a bit like people taste wine, and they say, oh, it's got some interesting notes, in that wine. Oh, that's a C sharp over a B flat. When they're tasting a wine, they're mixing it, oh wow, it's all complicated. Anyway, it's mixing up taste and sound. That's very interesting. But now here's the thing. There's a few different realities there, as far as I can tell. There's the reality of what that orchestra or that violinist or that flautist, it's what those guys are producing. And I think it's fair enough to say that those guys, the reality of what those guys are producing is sound, and only sound. They're not producing anything of colour, or shape, ignoring the fact that sound waves in air have got some sort of shape, but not that sort of shape, I'm not talking about, they're not producing blobs with arrows shooting through them and all that sort of stuff, and they're not producing the colour orange or the colour blue. But what's happening here? We've got a few realities at play here, because if someone came, you went to your teacher, if you were at school, if you were a student at school, and you had to represent what you did on the weekend. someone who was dedicated to the idea of literal reality would probably just bring in a recording of the orchestra, knew this question was coming and got the old iPhone in out of his pocket in the, when he went to the concert, and bootlegged the thing and played it and said, there you go, that's what I did on the weekend. I heard exactly that, But what if my goddaughter was also in my class, somehow was the same age as me? Oh, no, yeah, all right. And she got a piece of paper out, right, and got a can of blue paint and went and tipped it over and made a big blue splotch on the piece of paper and said, that's something I went and saw on the weekend. And they'd say, what was it? I said, oh, that was a flautist playing his flute. Oh, Now, is that an unacceptable, is that an unacceptable reality? Is that an unacceptable representation of what she went and saw? Is that wacky art, or is that real? Well, I'd say that was her real experience of what she saw when the flautist was playing his music. Possibly she had her eyes closed and she saw the music. It was the colour blue. And then, she gets another piece of paper and an orange paint can of woof, and that's the violinist, And then I come into class. That was another guy before, the literal realist. He was at the concert too, one of our classmates. And he actually just drew the orchestra, and then he brought in his iPhone and played what he heard, and he said, that's it. He's a total, I bet you he does maths. I bet you he doesn't do art. But me, I'd come in and they'd say, what did you see? And I've brought a whole lot of, I've brought a great big blob of plasticine, and I've brought in an arrow, and I go bang, and I jab the arrow through the plasticine, and I say, that's what I saw on the weekend. They said, you sure you saw that? What, you saw a big blob of plasticine and an arrow going through it? I said, yeah, I really did, as a matter of reality. Now, there were 3 people at that concert, and 3 very different real things happened and were experienced. Only one of us was there a match between what was being produced on the stage and what was going into that guy's brain. And that's why he had to bring his iPhone into class and just play the thing. And he said, that's exactly what I heard. I heard that. I saw no colours. I saw no shapes. That's exactly what I saw. Whereas, my goddaughter, she brought in 2 pieces of paper and 2 cans of paint to represent what she actually and accurately and really saw when she went to the concert. And me, well, we already know what I brought in: a big lump of plasticine and an arrow. I don't know where I got the arrow from, and not only that, to sort of really tell the teacher what I saw. I really did see that. That's the thing. See, that's as a matter of reality. Swear on the Bible. We're all in a Catholic school. Swear on the Bible. I saw that. She said, no, you didn't. You saw. This is what the teacher might say. If the teacher is unwilling to accept alternative realities, the teacher might mark me down and my goddaughter too. We got 0 out of 10 for that exercise, and the other guy got 10 out of 10. The fact that we failed, my goddaughter and I, and the other guy passed that exercise, is not so much a reflection of whether, we weren't wrong. It's just that the teacher wasn't able to, didn't want to handle alternative realities, 3 different alternative realities. She really should have given us all 10 out of 10. That's what I think. I'm really annoyed. Look, end of that. You could go on and on with other examples like wine tasting and all sorts of things, I'm sure.